Hello and welcome to Today in History. My name is Tonye Afiasimama. It's the 7th of July and we shall go back in time to the year 1456. On this day, a retrial verdict acquits Joan of Arc for heresy 25 years after her death. Well, that verdict didn't bring her back to life, so my opinion is, what was the point? Anyway, let's move on now to the year 1520, and it's the Battle of Otumba, Mexico. Hernán Cortés and the Tlaxcalans defeat a numerically superior Aztec force. So that's a depiction of that battle on this day in 1520. 1534, 14 years later, the European colonization of the Americas, the first known exchange between Europeans and natives of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, took place on this day in 1534. The place was New Brunswick, so the Gulf of St. Lawrence in New Brunswick. On this day in 1668, Isaac Newton, who I mentioned in one or two videos ago, he receives his Master of Arts, or MA, from Trinity College, Cambridge. Moving on to 1713, it's the first performance of George Frideric Handel's Deum and Jubilate. He was born on the 23rd of February 1685. He was born German, but later became British by naturalization. He was a Baroque composer who spent the bulk of his career in London, becoming well known for his operas, oratorios, anthems, concerti, grossi, and organ concertos. Handel received important training in Halle and worked as a composer in Hamburg and Italy before settling in London in 1712. He became a naturalized British subject in 1727. He was strongly influenced both by the great composers of the Italian Baroque and by the Middle German polyphonic choral tradition. He would become a huge influence on classical composers such as Mozart and Beethoven. So that's George Frideric Handel, who was born in 1685 and died in 1759. The significance of today, again, is that in 1713, his first performance of Deum and Jubilate took place. Okay, so let's move on to the year 1801, and the country is what's now known as Haiti. Toussaint Louverture declares Haitian independence. He was a Haitian general and best-known leader of the Haitian Revolution. Already a free man and a Jacobin by then, Louverture began his military career as a leader of the 1791 slave rebellion in Saint-Domingue. Louverture's prominent role in the Haitian success over colonialism and slavery had earned him the admiration of friends and detractors alike. So that's a brave soldier here, Toussaint Louverture, who declared Haitian independence on this day in 1801. We move on to this day, obviously, and the year is 1906. Leroy Roberts Satchel Paige was born on this day. Hall of Fame baseball great Satchel Paige was born in Mobile, Alabama. He was the first player from the Negro Leagues to pitch in the World Series during 1948. And that's him right here. And he was also the first player from the Negro Leagues to be inducted in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1971, after a legendary professional career in the Negro Leagues. Let's move on to the year 1928. And as they say in the greatest invention since sliced bread. I wonder if you've heard that before. But anyway, 1928 on this day, sliced bread sold for the first time by the Chillicothe Baking Company in Missouri, using a machine invented by Otto Frederick Roweather, described as the greatest forward step in the baking industry since bread was wrapped. 1954 on this day, the TANU Party, short for Tanganyika African National Union, was formed in Tanzania. So the year again was 1954. On this day, 1965, Otis Redding records the song Famous. Records the song Respect. I was going to say Made Famous by Aretha Franklin, but yeah. So that's Otis Redding's singing in this picture here. He records the song Respect on this day in 1965. 1977, 007, The Spy Who Loves Me, premieres in London, starring Roger Moore and Barbara Bach. James Bond, 1977 on this day, The Spy Who Loved Me, based on the book by Ian Fleming. Great film. 1980, American boxer Larry Holmes scores a 7th-round technical knockout of Scott Ledoux in Bloomington, Minnesota, in defense of his WBC heavyweight title. 1990 on this day, first 3 Tenors concerts took place. It featured these 3 guys: Placido Domingo, Luciano Pavarotti, and Jose Carreras. It took place at Baths of Caracalla in Rome. So that's the 3 tenors for you. 1990 on this day. 6 years later, 1996, Nelson Mandela would step down as president of South Africa. Last but not least, sad story on this day. Those who live in the UK, especially in London, would not forget this day, especially those who lost loved ones. So, the greatest terrorist attack in the UK ever happened on this day in 2005. 52 Londoners lost their lives. The attacks were coordinated, so the transportation system in London was attacked, the underground, the buses, and so on. So 52 lives were lost, and it happened during the morning rush hour, popularly known as 7/7. On that sad note, we end today in history for the 7th of July. We all have to be watchful, look out for each other. Don't think the world is a safer place today. No one knows when the next terrorist attack is going to take place, so we all have to be watchful, we all have to be careful. Yeah. Alright guys, like I always say, stay safe. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and do not forget to subscribe by hitting the notification bell. Thanks again guys. Bye bye.